Browns finalizing a deal to send two-time defensive player of the year Myles Garrett to the Rams. Package includes LA sending the Browns Jared Verse, a 2027 first, that'll probably be pick 31 after they lose to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, 2028 second, and a 2029 third, all going back to Cleveland. Greg, the Rams were already Super Bowl favorites before this trade. Now they are the heavy favorites. Is anyone or anything stopping the Rams aside from like Stafford gets hurt? Like we're not talking about the potential injury.
Yeah, I think the only thing that truly can stop this team is these guys not playing up to their expectations.
Okay.
And I say that because in Coach Chris Shula is going to have a lot to do with this defensively, because I don't think any one of us believes that offensively they're just going to take a step back. I mean, Devontae is he's a year older, so we kind of understand where Devontae is, but we know that he can still be productive in Puka and Matt Stafford, reigning MVP. But defensively, once you acquire these type of players, the Trent McDuffies of the world, obviously the Myles Garretts of the world, you re-sign Cam Curl, who was a huge part of what you did last year. It is now incumbent upon you as a defensive coordinator to make it work. Put everybody in advantageous situations and positions to where they can be the best version of themselves that will also garner the best version of you as a team defensively in a unit. If that happens, which again, we have never seen Myles Garrett. You kind of alluded to this a different way. We've never seen Myles Garrett in this type of situation where, you know, he's out front. He's going to be a front runner.
You brought that up a couple of times. Do you have some questions?
It's not that I have questions. It's when he's only played in 3 playoff games, because regular season, I think, okay, they're going to make the postseason.
He's never been scrutinized for a bad game.
No.
This is what I would say. Like, great defensive players on bad teams, we only talk about them when they have great games and not, and I'm not saying the guy has a bunch of bad games. And I'll be honest, I don't even, because, we're not play-by-play, like what, did he follow his assignment there? Right. But there is a level of scrutiny that I remember Micah getting that he's never been subjected to. You know what I mean? Was he chasing a sack rather than staying with his assignment? In this big matchup, was he, didn't have the impact he had in other things? I think that's what
those are some of the things that we're going to now see. What type of player, again, and when I say this, I don't literally mean what type of. We know who Myles Garrett is, but on a team that has aspirations and who is really out there to win it all, we all believe that they have the roster to do it. How impactful and does what we've seen in Cleveland carry over? Because the expectation is not going to now all of a sudden be shared like, well, he has support. We're still going to expect Myles Garrett to be Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head earlier when you said if they don't play up their potential. If Stafford at 38 years old shows his age, Devontae Adams, not quite what he was in his prime, but if he falls off, Puka's had off the field issues. So do those things come into play? But outside of that, I mean, you got to love them on paper. And they have a coach and an organization that knows he's a great coach, obviously. So that's not a worry. And they've had a defensive caliber, a player of that caliber in Aaron Donald that they know how to handle a first ballot Hall of Fame type talent. So I think you bring up an interesting point, Greg. It's kind of like in the NBA when a guy averages 25 on a bad team. You wonder, okay, can he do it on a good team? I think Garrett will be great, but it's just something to watch for.
I've got one thing that I think could stop the Rams, and I want your take on it. I think the weather in January could. I think so I'll explain what I mean. I think everything about this team now is about being awesome at the pass and defending the pass. That was their one weakness last year was their pass defense, so they went out and remade their secondary, got a great pass rusher. They play in Los Angeles in, big climate-controlled situation. This trade, to me, makes the regular season so much more important for Chicago, Green Bay, and Philly. Because I do not think any of those 3 teams are going to have a talent edge against the Rams, and if a game is played on the Rams' terms, again, assuming health, and we know health will be a factor in some way,
right,
that they're going to be at a massive deficit. I think what could be a stumbling block for the Rams is if, because of that division, if because of other circumstances, they have a year similar to last year where they are awesome and just miss out on the number 1 seed. And last year, they made them drop all the way to the 5 seed because of it. Them having to go outdoors to one of those places, that to me is because I don't think the Rams are going to be a great running team. And I don't.
Kyron's pretty. He's a good
right. I think they'll be fine. And I would argue, I think Jared Verse might be a better run defender than Myles Garrett. He's certainly on par with him, and Garrett's excellent at it, which is a testament really to Jared Verse being great at that last year. That's, to me, if I'm one of the other NFC contenders in a cold weather outdoor city, I'm saying, man, we've got to make sure we're hosting if we play the Rams, that game's got to be in our building. That's my first takeaway.
I mean, Rams did all right in Chicago. They did okay in Philly. Myles Garrett's played in the cold. Devontae's played in the cold. Stafford has good games in the cold. You said before the break, I know you were being hyperbolic, Rams are the field. I clearly would take the field. I mean, I think if the Seattle Seahawks are listening to this conversation, they're like, we beat them in the NFC Championship game last year, and we were in
but Seattle lost pieces and they added pieces.
And the way Seattle averaged about 400 yards passing in the 2 wins, so that's what they addressed.
Well, the Rams deserve to be favorites because of the offseason moves, but you know how NFL teams, the Seahawks do not look at themselves as being massive underdogs against the Rams, or that they
underdogs
can't beat
at all.
Do you?
No. Yeah, I think the Rams are. But what about the Niners? I bet the Niners also think that they can hang.
I don't think
with
the
these
Niners
two
are in
teams
this class at all.
When they're with that coach, with that roster, if they are healthy, I think the Niners are going to be.
Put them in that class.
They're going to be a very formidable team. The top 3 in the NFC West is arguably the best top 3 event. I would say the NFC North is the best division 1 through 4, but top 3, I would say it's the NFC West.
Listen, I think the Rams. I think right now, on paper, their talent is at such a higher level. I thought they were the best team in the NFC last year. I thought that they, were heading into this year as the best team in the NFC, and that was before they added Myles Garrett. I do think, Brew, in a weird way, we talk S-Bob on the show a lot. I think the Rams removed a lot of S-Bob pressure from the other 31 teams in the league for this upcoming season. I think that they are, now for a lot of the teams we talk about, they're AFC teams and it's like getting to the Super Bowl because they haven't done that yet. But I look at the Rams as a formidable, considerable favorite in the NFC and a legit favorite overall, particularly for me, pending, the health of Mahomes in the AFC.
Well, look, I think they might be the most S-Bob team. If they don't win the Super Bowl, it's clearly more than a disappointment. It's a failure because the quarterback's old. They made this move for an older player.
Yes.
So, they have to win it as much, if not more, than anybody. But San Francisco is still, Trent Williams is old, and they've been knocking on the door for years. If they're not going to look at it they're just better, so it takes a little pressure off of us. I'm sure them and some of the other teams are still thinking, we got to win this Super Bowl this year.
All right, on the other side, the Browns got a lot. They still, however, have question marks when it comes to their quarterback room. They're coming off a 5-win season where they finished last in the division. Danny, here is the Browns' 2027 draft capital. They have all of their own picks except for a 6th. They have an additional 1st, 2 additional 3rds, an additional 5th, and an additional 7th. We now also know they have an additional 2nd in 2028, an additional 3rd in 2029. What does this trade mean for the Browns?
It means that they do not believe they are ready to win this year.
Correct.
And it means that they are prepared to move a mountain to select whoever their top quarterback is in next year's draft. I think it is that simple. Now, if Deshaun Watson has some sort of throwback, year 2 in the NFL, 5,000-yard season, we can revisit that. I certainly don't think that's going to be Shedeur Sanders having some sort of breakout, 4,500-yard, 30 touchdowns. Let's just put aside the complete outlier quarterback internal, Dylan Gabriel. They already have their guy. Most of us don't think that. They are going to say that they've drafted well the last couple of years. They are a young team. They added a elite, I will use the fringe elite, premium player in Jared Verse at a premium position to replace Myles Garrett. Not as good, but still excellent and young. And they're going to say we're a year away from being a quarterback away. And that's what this is all about. And however many of those trades, because the Rams trade is, they're slotting that in to be the 30th pick in the draft, right? That's not a premium pick, but their pick, the Rams pick, and whatever else they need to give up to go select a QB in the top 5, that's what one of the biggest storylines going into next offseason is going to be.
Yeah, that part, and they're clearly punting on this season. However, this is like you talked about Kansas City Chiefs not last year, but the years prior to them going through practice. It's being practiced. Everybody on that roster is being assessed. Anytime you get a new head coach and you are not a team that is right there, ready in contention to win, everybody is on the cutting block. We want to see what we have. When you trade away your best player, it grabs the attention of everybody in the locker room. Oh, shoot, Myles is no longer here? So now you have everybody's attention. Obviously, the quarterback is huge. We want to see what we have at that position. But we have all these picks that if Deshaun shows us something, if Shedeur shows us something, we have all these picks and we can use them anywhere in any way we like. And so when I look at that, they're in a really good position for next year. Obviously not this year, but these players are going to still play hard. We will still see a Browns team that still can sneak up on teams and win some games because they're all being evaluated to see, are they going to be on this roster moving forward?
Well, I think first let's see how good of a head coach Monken is, Todd Monken. Because I think Stefanski is a good coach, and he obviously got him into the playoffs a few years. And even the down years under Stefanski, they were a handful for the Baltimores and the Steelers, in that division. They're never an easy game. So let's see if that continues under Monken, because talent-wise, we know how well they've drafted. They got running backs. They have some talent. They just need a quarterback. And so, I want to see if Deshaun can turn back the clock. That's still scary, because if he does turn back the clock and look, say, good, or close,
even if
even
he looks
better.
Really good, do you still say we're going to move forward with Deshaun?
I mean, he'd probably have to look great for you to do that. But what if he looks good and you win 9 games? I mean, it could be a problem. Or I got to see what Shedeur can do.
Yeah, I think, listen, the owner is going to decide who the quarterback is, which is a terrible way to run things, but it's the way they run things. Both those guys will play. My guess is neither one will play well enough to where they do anything other than take a quarterback in next year's draft. Here's the last thing I will say about this trade from the Browns' perspective. I really believe this will work out for the Rams. I really do. But there are ways in which the Rams end up regretting this. If Myles Garrett, at age 30 has a quicker fall off. If he, a couple of years into, his time with the Rams, like Aaron Donald style, it's like, okay, I think I'm going to retire.
When you say work out, they have to win the Super Bowl.
He win a Super Bowl or he's there for 4 years at this level he's been at. And they, for different reasons, they don't. My point is, I think this works out for the Rams. I am absolutely certain this is a good move for the Browns. Yeah. I just don't. Now, you have to hit on draft picks, but you have to hit on draft picks whether you trade for them or not. I see no scenario where this was a bad move for the Browns. They needed to move on. They needed to recognize we're not anywhere close. This was the best asset they possibly could have. They got an amazing return from him. They start cleaning up their books. There's no way, in my opinion, the Browns end up regretting this. I don't think the Rams will, but there is a scenario where the Rams are like, damn, that didn't work out at all. I don't think that'll happen, but it could. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.